All right, coming at you from Levi's Stadium where the 49ers beat the New England Patriots 30-13. Not a real perfect game by the 49ers, but a victory nonetheless. Nick Bosa had some comments after the game saying, boy, if you didn't know better, from the outside, it sounded like the building was burning down, but he says he still has confidence in his guys, and especially the defensive line, I think was what he was talking about with Javon Hargrave out for the season. The 49ers got some big time performances on Sunday from some of their lesser known guys. By the way, Nick Bosa had to work hard and hard and hard. He came so close many times of getting that elusive sack, but he finally got one, broke through at the end against Jacoby Brissett with a sack, strip, and also a recovery. So 49ers got a big performance from Kevin Givens, 2.5 sacks. Malik Collins had 1.5 sacks. Sam Okawanu had a tackle for a loss and a forced fumble. And then the rookie making his NFL debut, Evan Anderson, a backup defensive tackle, comes through with a sack as well. The injuries, a little bit of concern, obviously, during the course of the game with Fred Warner. He goes out with an ankle injury. And by the way, Fred Warner made the play of the game. Maybe just one for the highlight reel at the time that Fred Warner's career is over and he's going to be talked about for the Hall of Fame or whatever kind of accolades. This will be the play that will be probably on a very short reel as far as a top play in his career. He dropped into coverage, made a leaping interception, got to his feet, and ran 45 yards for a touchdown. His second interception of the season, his second pick six of his career. But anyway, he went out late in the first half with an ankle injury, and he said if he could have played, he would have, but he couldn't get out there. He didn't feel like he was able to play in the second half of this game. However, it could be considered certainly a positive thing was that he was still on the sideline. He was rooting on his guys. He was very animated, rooting his teammates on. 49ers, again, a 30-13 victory over the Patriots. Fred Warner indicated that he'll likely have an MRI on Monday to see the extent of that ankle injury. Other injuries. Jordan Elliott left with a knee injury. He started at defensive tackle with Javon Hargrave out for the season. Jordan Elliott left with a knee. Good news. Kyle Shanahan said it's not an ACL, so it doesn't look like, this is going to be a long-term significant injury for the 49ers. Kyle Juszczyk left with a shoulder injury late in the game. Jacob Cowing had a shoulder injury. He returned. George Kittle had a ribs injury, and he returned as well. Speaking of Kittle, another one of those ones for the highlight reel when his career is over, a 12-yard touchdown pass from Brock Purdy, the 49ers' first offensive touchdown of this game. It gave the 49ers a 20-0 lead in the second quarter. And what was interesting about this play call was that it was an out and up from the 12-yard line. 49ers, it sounds like they originally had this play called at the 40-yard line. So it's a play call where if you have a long field to work with, that's the play call. But it was from the 12-yard line. And Brock Purdy even said it's not the kind of call that he expected at that point. It certainly wasn't the call that George Kittle expected at that point. But there he was. He wasn't open by any stretch, but Brock Purdy put it up for George Kittle, who made a catch between three Patriots defenders, an absolute gem of a catch for the touchdown. Brock Purdy in this game, probably the thing that kind of stands out is he talked about this, a lot of man coverage from the Patriots, and the Patriots also did a very good job of scouting the 49ers and kind of knowing their routes. So they took a lot of things away from them, but what it did was it opened up some plays down the field, and Brock Purdy aired it out. He aired it out a couple of times for big plays. One at the beginning of the second half, a 53-yarder to Deebo Samuel that set up a touchdown, a Jordan Mason touchdown that really got the 49ers back on track after Isaac Guerendo fumbled on the kickoff to open the second half. Another special teams blunder for the 49ers, and the Patriots cashed in for their only touchdown of the day on a short field, but it didn't come back to bite the 49ers because they were able to just get right back out there and go down the field. I think it was a 5-play scoring drive, 5 plays for 70 yards. Actually, 4 plays, 70 yards to take the lead back to 27-10. Speaking of Jordan Mason, he did not start in this game. That was Deebo Samuel. He lined up in the backfield and took a carry on the first play of the game, but Jordan Mason got in there after that. He had another big game. 24 carries, 123 yards, and a touchdown. Jordan Mason showing that he's the real deal. Also caught some passes out of the backfield, 2 for 37 yards, had a touchdown, a 38-yard touchdown brought back on a holding penalty by George Kittle, a penalty that Kyle Shanahan did not like. He didn't think it was holding, neither did George Kittle. So another Juwan Jennings, Juwan going up in tight coverage and making big catches. He did that again on Sunday. He led the 49ers with 88 yards receiving on 3 catches. Of course, that's coming off his 11 catch, 175 yard 3 touchdown game against the Rams. So the 49ers get back on track with the victory. Meanwhile, not a good day for the other teams in the NFC West. The Rams lose to the Bears, and the Arizona Cardinals get crushed by the Washington Commanders. So the 49ers are 2-2. Seattle is 3-0. Seattle plays at Detroit on Monday night. So 49ers right now, one of 7 teams in the NFC with a 2-2 record. Let's just go back to the defensive line. I think that's pretty pertinent how well they played with Javon Hargrave out for the season. 49ers had a lot of fresh faces in there, and they did a good job, did a really good job getting after Jacoby Brissett. And so that's a group that I think it's going to be a better run group with Jordan Elliott in there. And they did a number on Ramondre Stevenson, only 43 yards rushing on 13 carries. That's 3.3 yards per carry. So the 49ers, they really put an emphasis on stopping the Patriots running game. The 49ers got Jacoby Brissett and the Patriots in those 3rd and long situations, and they were able to pin their ears back and go get him. And as far as Brissett, not a great day for him. 19 completions on 32 attempts for only 168 yards, the 1 touchdown, the 1 interception. And going back to the Fred Warner pick 6, all kind of made possible by Leonard Floyd getting the pressure on Brissett, and then Fred Warner did the rest. So that's kind of the rundown from here as far as the 49ers. Still a lot to improve on. Another special team blunder with Garindo's fumble at the start of the second half. There were penalties all over the place for illegal shifts, too many men on the field for a defensive play, an eligible man downfield. So I guess this is maybe not the perfect scenario, but it's a good scenario for the 49ers in that they have plenty of stuff to continue to work on. They're only 4 games into a 17-game season. They're 2-2, so they haven't buried themselves, and they get the win. So there's a lot to work on, and they get the win. So my grades aren't going to be nearly as bad as they were the last 2 weeks when I think I give the 49ers a D- or an F against the Vikings, and definitely an F against the Rams. So 49ers have a bounce back game of sorts. Brock Purdy, with his day, 288 yards passing. Like I said, a lot more deep balls than the 49ers ordinarily throw, and just kind of a solid all the way around kind of game. Fred Warner with the big play after the 49ers stalled on their first 2 drives offensively. The red zone offense hasn't been there like it was last year. 49ers were the best team in the league in the NFL last year, red zone offense. 68% of the times they get inside the opponent's 20, they would score touchdowns. When they went 0 for 2 and settled for 2 field goals, at that point, they were 6 of 14 to open the season. So it was Fred Warner who got into the red zone with an interception, and he punched it in, got some good blocks along the way from Bosa, from Jair Brown, and others. So that's a story from here. Please tune in to NBCSportsBayArea.com for all the coverage on the website. Myself and Jennifer Lee Chan will be posting a podcast, 49ers Talk. Later, we'll get into all this and a lot more depth. But again, thanks for watching, and please subscribe, comment, like, and tell me in the comments section what stood out to you about this game? For me, it was the defensive lineman. It was Kevin Givens. It was Malik Collins. It was Sam Okawanu. It was Evan Anderson. And oh, yeah, a little bit of Nick Bosa as well. So once again, thank you. And we'll be back here shortly as more information we're able to gather probably later in the day, Monday, from Kyle Shanahan about what the 49ers injury situation is.